Okay, I want to say welcome once again. It's me, Richard Clark, or Wushu Richard as my name online is. Welcome to another tutorial video on this fantastic free art software called Firealpaca. This software is great for drawing, it's great for painting, it's great for animation, and it's great for comics in that it's very simple to use and it has a good it's packed with features, okay, that you can learn and really produce some good art with, okay. This software is free. Please excuse me, I have a bad throat, okay. I have been recovering from a cold recently as well. But yeah, I'm making this is a tutorial here. This is a, tutorial number 4. And basically, we're going to just get straight into this now. If you've been watching the other tutorials that I've put out, I've gone in a lot of depth explaining the basics and how to use this art software. Please excuse me. And in this particular episode, this is video 4 now, tutorial 4, we're going to look at something fun, okay? And this is the 7th ruler. If you go to the top of the screen here where your rulers should be displayed. If the rulers are not displayed, then that's because you may be on another strange tool, another tool maybe. So make sure you're clicked on either the pen, the brush tool at the top here on the top left, depending on your layout setup, and or the eraser, one of those, okay. And you'll have these rulers here, these guides at the top of the screen here, at the top left. We're going to go to the one near the very end. It's the last ruler before this black dot, not the black dot, okay. You're going to click on this one. When you hover your mouse over any of the or most of the features and tools, sometimes you'll see that it will have a little sometimes a little message will pop up. For example, we're going to use this one, and you can see the message that says 3D perspective snap. This is a cool tool. But before we go into that, I'm just going to explain to you, okay, that this software, don't forget, is pretty simple. It's not powerful like it's lightweight. It's not like Photoshop, okay. But I use it more than Photoshop, and it's packed full of stuff. And I've actually I've actually even imported brushes from Photoshop into this. Please excuse me. Now, so let's have a look again. We're going to click on this one here. I've selected it already, and we've not even opened our canvas up yet and started a new project. So let's start a new project and go to File, New, and then start a standard project with whatever settings you've got for your screen size or canvas size setup. I'm going to press OK, click OK, and here we are. Okay, that's our setup. Now, I'm going to give it a basic colour, so like a very light grey. With the paint bucket tool here, I'm just going to fill the space, fill the canvas. Now I'm going to go up to my pen tool again up the top here to reveal all of these snaps, okay, these rulers. And I've got my 3D perspective snap actually set up. Now this is one tool that I have been trying to figure out for a long time, and I've just worked it out more or less properly now, fully, more or less, today. So I thought, you know what, it's best that I make a video before I forget, for reference for myself and for anybody else who's watching. Let's talk about this tool and how handy it can be and how to use it, and I'll explain to the best of my ability. Remember, okay, this software is not really built for 3D, so you cannot bring 3D objects in at present. It's 2018, okay, we're in actually we're in September now, but in this video, but I'm just saying, okay, currently in this version I'm using, I can't bring 3D objects in, export or import, but we do have some 3D-esque type features, okay, which are very useful. So let's go into I need to find it now because I can't even remember where it is because I don't always use it, So bear with me. I'm going to look under here. When you want to find something, look for it. Okay, so filter, it's not there. Hold on 1 second. Okay, here we go. Snap. Obviously, go to snap and go down, and you'll see that I have 3D perspective already selected. And the reason that is because I've already selected it here, this little thing here, beside the black dot on my one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to snap, go down, and I'm going to click on add 3D perspective. And I'm going to take you through this step by step. Okay, so follow along if you wish to. Add 3D perspective. Okay, here. Okay, now you'll notice that your cursor automatically changes to this, and you can't do anything on this particular layer. If you look over here, yes, over here, you'll notice that another layer has been added on top, and that is the 3D perspective layer, okay, itself. I can turn off the visibility on or off by clicking that spot as usual. I can also play around with, I think, the blending modes, but I don't really need to. None of, okay, yeah, so right, that's that. And also, various things. I want to say this. You'll notice that clipping and lock are able to be selected, but protect alpha is not. The opacity can be changed. Okay, the opacity. Let's zoom in and have a look at that more clearly here. The opacity of the layer can actually be changed like a normal layer. Okay. But what the hell is this? It's just given us a cube. What is that cube? Okay. In fact, what I'm going to do for a moment is I'm going to turn this off visibility wise, and I'm going to choose another color, and the reason for that is I'll show you the reason in a moment. Okay, I'm going to choose a yellowish color to fill my bottommost layer with. Okay, so the bottommost layer I'm going to have is a yellow color, and the reason for that is because we need to see a certain grid, and the grid will show up in grey, I'm pretty sure, so I don't want to confuse people. Okay, we're going to turn the visibility back on for this layer here and click on that. Now it's pretty small, whatever this thing is here, this cube image, with a white square around it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the, if I go down here on the side and find the arrow tool, okay? And you'll see information at the bottom of the screen here actually telling you what that is. On the top, on the bottom left hand corner here, you'll see information. You see like brush, bitmap, things like that, script. You see it's showing you what these things are. If I go to this arrow here now, it's called the operation tool. It's actually selectable now because for this is one of the features that, this is one of the few features that this is actually selectable and usable for. This operation tool being the arrow. Okay, click a corner as usual, click a corner, left click and hold and pull it out. You can stretch it bigger if you wish to. Okay. Okay, and there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna show you what this is all about. Okay. Okay, let's look at this. So what do we have? We have a cube here, and we can't do much with it. You know, I can move this whole thing around by clicking in the middle and holding that. I can, you know, resize this whole thingamajig here. But what is it, this thing? You know, I can change the position of the layer, but what is it? You know, you can probably guess that this is some kind of guide. But what's the use of just having this square cube thing in the middle? What's the use of this thing? Well, I'll show you. Okay, what it is. Let's go to. We need to go to the layer over here itself, the actual layer. Okay, and double click on it. Double click, and you'll have this thing come up. Okay, when you double click on the layer. Another way of doing that is by simply clicking on this thing on the right here, which is basically just like an options opening thing. So you click on that and it shows up. Okay, same way, or just double click anywhere on the layer tab here. Okay, so double click. That's what I like to do. Double click, and then this comes up. Now it's pretty small, but what it's basically doing is it's basically showing what you've got here, minus the grid beneath it, which is basically the stage. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click on the top of this thing, or we can click on this thing here to maximize the size of this new window. Let's double click and just open it to full screen. Now we're looking at a totally different thing, right? This is like, what is it? Now we've got the different X, Z, Y there written on there and things like that. Well, let's look at what we've got. Okay, first of all, we've got two different layers here. We've got one layer being this, which also has its coordinates. We've got this this one layer beneath being the stage. Can we change them? Yes, we can change the position, but that's no use to us. The box is on top of this stage, basically. And what we have, okay, is we have, we can change the size of this stuff first. So let me just show you that first of all, before we start moving anything. I think this is pretty cool. If you look here on the top right, we can see that the X is 100, so is Y, and so is Z. They're all set to 100. It says cm, that's like centimeters, right? So if I change that now, the X, let's say, change it to 150, you'll see that we have something totally different. If I set the whole thing to 200, then you have this going on. If I set this to 10, then we go here. If I set this to, I don't know, 1000, we're going to have a massive thing like that going on. If I set this to 220, okay, we got that. And back to 100 here. So you can see that we've got various shapes and things we can do here. And we can also edit the bottom layer too. Okay, let's have a look at that. The bottom layer, we can see it's a grid made up of 12 squares, so 6 by 6, or like, well, basically 4 by 3 there. it's entitled the stage. Okay, just stage. Now if I click on that layer, I can also change its details here, such as division, div number of long side and then of short side. So you can basically adjust those. So clicking the arrows here up and down will add more or less. It splits it up basically, and the same for the other side, long ways, you know. And you can make this like very divided, you see. Okay, so this could be very, very useful. Okay, now for guides, you know, for your drawing and stuff like that, these shapes we have in here can also be used as rulers. You can use them as perspective rulers, or you can just, you know, just unsnap them, so to speak, or just draw freely but use them as a visual guide, so you don't have to snap to any, you know, rulers per se if you don't want to. Now let's have a look what we've got. Okay, if you look on the left side of the screen, we have a camera followed by which is basically the camera mode. Okay, mode, it says camera mode. We have also an arrow there, which is the select tool. We have this one, which is the move tool. We have this one, which is the rotation tool. We have this one, which is the show the composite canvas. And this one is actually selectable right now, so I'm going to click it, and it's going to show us this yellow background which I added. But I think it's kind of like the wrong color. I shouldn't have added this color. I think I should have added a darker color maybe, because now we can't really see the green square. So we don't have to see it now though, because there's no detail on the background. So I'll turn that off by re-clicking that yellow canvas, what we've got. This other one here says ground and object. So if you want to bring an object back down to a certain level, I guess you click on this ground layer, similarly like to what you do in 3D software. Okay. So what do we have? Okay, so we have this thing now. Okay, we can move it around, right? You're waiting for me to move this thing around. Why can I do that? Because we're in camera mode. Okay, so with the camera up here, the top one selected. Okay, and I'm on box. It doesn't matter if I'm on stage or box here on the layers on the right here. Whenever I turn, when I press the left mouse button and hold it down and move my mouse around, I can turn the camera around. Now this could be a building, right? I can use my mouse wheel, the middle button on your mouse, the rolling wheel, as a, you know, a zoom. I can zoom in and out, and I can turn my camera. This could be a building if I wanted it to be. If I press the middle mouse button down and move it, the same thing. Okay, I get that. the same as the left mouse button, turning it for the left mouse button to turn, and the right mouse button, if you press that and hold it and move around, you'll be able to just move it and pan in different directions around like this. Okay, so middle mouse wheel to zoom in and out, right mouse to move it around like that, and left mouse to turn it the camera angle. Now notice when I do move up and down like this, there's a line in the distance, and that line is basically, yep, you've guessed it, the horizon line. Okay, so you know, things get more smaller, or seem to get smaller, appear to get smaller to us the further away they go in perspective, and closer to us, the closer to us they are, the larger they seem to appear. And that, if you can imagine two lines like we showed before on one of those rulers I showed you before, that is the same kind of principle. You know, things will follow those lines into a point on the horizon line, be it within our canvas or somewhere beyond the canvas itself. But anyway, that's perspective, right? We're not actually turning the cube thing around here, and we're not actually turning the stage per se either. What we're doing though is we're turning the whole world, so we're just turning the camera angle to look at our world in a different way. That's what we're doing, and I've got my camera selected here on the top left of screen. Okay, now you'll notice for some strange reason that I'm still trying to figure out that the select tool is unselectable now. I can't choose the select tool, I can't choose the move tool, and I can't choose the rotation tool. I'm sure I'll figure it out if you haven't already. The show composite canvas and ground objects are both visible, but we don't need to use them right now, especially since our background is not suitable. It's not an image, and it's just an awkward color, yellow. So okay, so we've looked at that. Now if you go over here to the right hand side, you'll notice that we've got various things also. We also have an OK button, and let's just look at these other tools first. If I click on any of these, they will do different things. The first one is add box. So there we are. Now we have another box within our scene, but it's actually within the same box. We want to take it out and move it around, which we can also do. But I'm going to delete that. You'll also notice that it's actually given another layer too. Okay. And remember, if I move the camera, it doesn't do any good. It's not It's not moving the object. I'm just moving the camera around. Okay. I'm not moving this box to the right. I'm moving like my camera, so to speak. You see, it's like that's what I'm doing. I'm just moving my camera around when I move this. Okay, for now. Anyway, I'm going to delete that layer which I just showed you. Bang. So we've just got one. Oh, I've deleted the wrong one. I deleted the wrong layer, but still, it doesn't matter. We're going to have this one. Okay. I can also add a plane, which is this plane. It's a square, and you can also turn that square around later on. I'll show you how to use that. So I will also show you how to use that plane we just added also later on. We have a cube or we have a plane, basically two shapes that we can use and manipulate. I can actually, as I say, manipulate this plane also to be different sizes, as so, you see. You know, like this, things like that. You know, I can change the shape of this plane. Okay, and make it a certain shape or size. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that plane layer by pressing this delete trash can thing here. Don't forget, I can also duplicate things like this box, for example. I've duplicated it. There are two of these boxes now, two of these cubes, but you can't see them because they're in the exact same place. So it looks like one cube. The only way to see it is I would have to move it and, you know, literally just move the cube to another position. So which I'm going to show you in a moment. Okay, we've got this camera selected on the top left of screen here, and we're using the left mouse and the right mouse button and the middle mouse wheel zooming in and out for our camera angles, regardless of what layer we're on. I'm going to delete one of those boxes for now, and we're just going to have the stage, which I think we can't delete the stage. The stage is just there. I think unless you added 0 for the division, maybe you would still have a stage ultimately. In fact, it gives you 10 anyway, so whatever, you know. So I'm gonna say we're gonna have that for now. I know what we're gonna do. Okay, is we're gonna, if you do click on the middle mouse wheel, by the way, and move the mouse around, it's the same thing as the left mouse. Okay, which I usually use. The middle mouse button is actually a wheel. It should be that you zoom in and out like this. Okay, and the right mouse button is, as I say, panning, which I'm sure you understand by now. Now, if you look down here, we also have a duplicate, as I say, we also have this camera, so add camera, which I find very strange. You can add a camera, and, okay, oh, I see, okay, so you can add a zoom in and out, is what you can do. Okay, I can see what that is for now. You can zoom in and out anyway, but I find that very strange. Okay, so if I do this, okay, I can press just, I guess, click update. I don't think it's any use though. So I guess if I have I guess what you're supposed to do is add multiple cameras. So if I zoom up very, very close now, okay, on the, I think that's a like the field of view. Okay, that's what that is. So camera 2 is already set up in this position, and camera 1 is already set up in this position. So you're basically just setting up default camera positions. You set it up and then update it. But we're going to delete both of those cameras. We don't need them. So now we're back to square 1 or cube 1 with our cube box on top of a stage. So now let's talk about moving the actual cube or objects within the scene, either cubes or planes. Okay, basically what we're going to do is we're going to do something here. We want to click on these objects on the left of screen here, okay, which are basically the up below the camera on the left here on the options, the select tool, the move tool, and the rotation tool. These three we need to use now on this cube. We don't want to turn the camera anymore. We want to select the box. And you know, the strange thing is I've already selected my box. Layer, but it's not allowing me to select. You know, it's very strange, right? So it's weird. It's very weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to the right, bottom right of screen, and click on OK, because this is basically what we're doing now, is we're basically just setting up a position. So we're going to click OK. Okay, and what it's done is that's disappeared. Basically, that has actually disappeared, that little extra window, and now we're back to Firealpaca, and it has given us the angle of the camera that we actually set up. Now the ground plane, the stage with its grid, is not actually visible here. It doesn't need to be as such per se. Remember, if you want to resize this thing, you can use move the corners, but you must be clicked on this arrow down the bottom left here, which is the operation tool. So okay, now we want to turn this cube around, let's say, and change the position of. We don't want to change the camera angle, but we want to manipulate cubes and positions of cubes, okay, or objects. So what I'm going to do is I need to go back in, which is very strange. Okay, so let's take you through that again. When I go to my 3D perspective layer and double click, it opens up. Okay, when I've got camera selected at the top here, top left, I can do these motions and movements, you see, to set the camera up. You can even see the horizon line in the background moving up and down as I do it, so you know I'm moving the camera around, zooming in and out, moving it across. Okay, there we are. Okay, now I'm going to click OK, so we've set up our camera, and it takes us to this, okay, as you can see. Now, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? Okay, what I want to do is I want to move the object. So let's double click again, and I had to do this. Okay, I had to go out and then go back in. Do you understand me? I had to click OK to set the camera, which is what we've got, and then I have to go back in. It's a very strange thing, but this seems to be, to me, it really does seem to be the absolute real reason why I could not choose those manipulating tools before, which now should be selectable once I've set my camera angle by clicking OK, which I just did, which took us back to this view, the Firealpaca canvas view for painting and drawing. What I do is, now is the time to go back in. Okay, so after I've clicked OK and set my camera up, which I've just done, it goes out of this, and then what you need to do is go back into this, like I've just done by double clicking the 3D perspective layer again. We're back in. Here we are back in. Okay, and when it opens up, usually it's going to be on a small window like this. Okay, it's going to be on a small window like this. Okay, but I've just made it big, as you know. Okay, you can also close it down by pressing the cross here and close it down, or you can once you're in, you can also just go to OK again as it is. Okay, but if you ever find that you can't move those tools, just remember to click OK at the bottom of the screen, top right, like I just did. Now go in, double click, okay, and open it up, and now you can see that these three objects are selectable. You have the select tool, the move tool, and the rotation tool. Don't click on that camera on the top, whatever you do, okay, for now. What I'm going to do is leave the camera as it is, so we should not be even moving this horizon, okay. I'm going to click on the select tool, and I'm going to click on the box, and you're going to notice now that actually is it going to do anything? Yeah, it's not actually doing anything. Okay, so I'm just selecting one of those objects. When I select on the stage, or when I click on the box, it just clicks on one. You just click on these objects. These objects are now selectable, basically. Okay, so that's why it's the select tool. That's why it's called the select tool, right? Next one is the next one you should click on is the move tool. So once we've clicked on which object we want, another way of doing that, by the way, is just by clicking on the actual layer themselves. Okay, but then once you've selected that, like the box, we're on the box now. I'm going to choose the move tool, and I'm going to press left, and I can move this mouse around, move this around, you see, and you can see that the horizon is not moving in the line in the background. Nothing's moving. I'm just left clicking and moving this layer. I don't even have to click on the box. I can just click around here, and it will basically, it comes closer when I bring it down. If I move the mouse up, it moves this far away. I can let go and push it further and further back. Can let go and click again, let go and click and hold and move it across, basically in and out of the screen in any way. In fact, you know, I can make duplicates of these, and don't forget we can also change the shape of this thing if I wanted to, like this, you know, as a different thing, and I can still move it around. Okay, I can also duplicate the layer by going to the bottom right here. Don't click on OK, but just click on duplicate layer, and now you can move that across too, and you can move another one if you wish to. See, like that. Okay, okay, very good. Now I can change certain shapes. I can put these together to arrange like a scene. These could be buildings, they could be shapes and buildings. These shapes can be arranged to be like buildings or shapes or anything, and used as rulers or just guides for you to follow visually and draw around or over. Now if we go down to the next one, the third one is it's the rotation tool. So what I do is I click on one of these objects, or I just click on one of the the layers here for the objects over there. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I just click on it and go to the rotation tool here. Okay, rotation tool. If you're not sure which one is, you just hover over it and the message will pop up, rotation tool. When I click, you'll notice nothing happens. Nothing. I can't even move them. And you'll be thinking, why? Why is it? Even when I right click, left click, even the middle mouse button, no mouse buttons are now functional. And you think, what is going on? The left mouse button, the right mouse button, and the middle mouse button, nothing's working. And I've clicked on this rotation tool. If I click the move tool, things do work. Why is it not working for this? Okay, for this, you know, I can go up and down here, left and right, you know, left. When you hold the left, if you're on the move tool, you'll notice I can hold the left mouse button and move in and out, left and right. And if I hold the right mouse button, I can go up and down. Okay, the middle mouse button, the zoom, doesn't actually work. You just drag the object in and out, because we're not zooming the camera, we're just moving the object by using the left or the right mouse button, okay? But what's up with that other tool though, this bottom one, this the rotation tool? What's wrong with that? Why can't any mouse buttons work? Well, that's not the way we rotate these objects. The way we rotate the objects is, did you notice, if you look up here on the canvas at the top right and on the bottom left, we have some little bars, and if I drag those bars, can you see on the top, the bottom left of my screen, look at my mouse as I move, I'm moving this bar. And if you go to the other at the top right here and move this bar, I can turn this around this way by clicking and holding the left mouse button. And if I go on to the other one, I can do this and turn it this way. So there are 3 bars. There's this one at the top right of my screen. Then if I move over and press this one, it will go here. Or the bottom left of my screen, I can turn it this way. And I can still, once I've done that, I can go back up to the move tool, and you'll notice those bars disappear. Look at those bars in the top right and bottom left. They disappear. They are only visible when I've selected the rotation tool, because these bars are the way we rotate the object, using the left mouse button also. The right mouse button doesn't do anything, neither does the mouse wheel. When I click on the move tool now, they disappear, and I can once again use my left or right mouse buttons to reposition them. The right mouse button going up or down, the left mouse button to go left, right, or in or out of the scene. Okay, so like this. Okay, and then so the rotation tool, these bars come up and you can move them around. Okay, like that. These could be traffic. This could be a car crash. They could be buildings, whatever, a staircase. You know, blocks of some kind. Okay, you get the idea. And then the select, as I said, the select tool thing, this here, is only to select the objects, but you can simply do that by just clicking on the objects themselves anyway, the objects themselves, or just clicking on the layers themselves anyway. For example here, okay, I can just click on the layer anyway myself here. So you know how to change the shape of these by changing the coordinates. We know about the stage also by splitting that up with its numbers up here, by splitting up divisions up in the stage. We also can add another shape, don't forget. We can add a plane. So by the bottom right corner here, okay, if you go to the bottom right hand corner and choose add plane, it will do that. And similarly, we can move this plane around now using the move tool in the top left here, move tool below the arrow. Just moving around using the left or right mouse buttons to control. You can even see a shadow, it's pretty cool. Just lightly there, and you do that, okay. And you can also change the size of this plane, as I say, I've already shown you before. You can change the shape of that, you know, however you wish to, okay. Bam, bam, you know. Okay, whatever. Okay, and you can go to the rotate by clicking this one here on the top left. Can you see my mouse here? Look, the rotation tool, where these bars show up again here and here, and we can turn this. It's really cool. Okay, we can turn that in any direction and make some cool stuff. Okay, I can make maybe a staircase if I wish to. I can turn this up to be a certain shape, a certain angle maybe, and you know, a certain angle, and then click on the move tool, move it back, you know, sort of thing. Okay, and this could be maybe a staircase or something, you know, leading up to that. So this is a very, very rough thing. Right mouse click and move that there, left mouse click to do that. You know, I could half this by going 100, oh hang on, no 200, and then go to 100 with this. Okay, oh, hold on. Okay, I'm just going to move that across there. Move that there, okay. Now, that looks about right, our position, for me. And the grid, you can make the grid bigger. The grid really, you're just going to keep it where it is. The grid's not really important, the thing below, it's just there for an extra guide. But these shapes are pretty useful, and you've got all those other rulers, don't forget, you can also use in the software. What I'm going to show you now next is I'm going to go to the camera. Once you've set up your objects, you can then reset the camera. Arrange the camera angles, okay? Not this camera at the bottom here, on the bottom right. That's just one to add different angles, okay? But you can do that. Or you can click on this camera up the top here, left, straight up anyway. And when I turn that, it turns the whole scene. How cool is that? But you can notice that those steps there weren't in the right place, so to speak, okay? So now let's say I move my camera around to get a better view of this by using the camera in the top left hand corner. Once I've got that, once I've got used to that and moved that around, okay, you'll notice that there's a problem. We're moving the camera around all of these objects, and the objects have already been placed in certain places. The problem is, okay, I want to move the I want to actually move that panel, that plane here, which looks like a staircase. I want to move it across to join it up with that box. From this angle we can see it doesn't look right. A moment ago it did look kind of right, but from this angle we can see it's not right. So I need to pull that across. How do I do it? I simply click on my move tool, right? No, wrong, because these three will not work now. They're not working anymore. So we need to go down here, like I told you before, and click OK on the bottom right hand corner. Once you've done that, you'll have something happen. It will take you out of this. It takes you back to our scene here, our canvas scene. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on the thing. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to go out and then go back in. So we're going to go back in, double click on your 3D perspective layer, which is on top. And now they're available to you once again, the controls. So I'm going to make sure I click on my plane layer, or use the select tool, which is the arrow, and click on it, clicking on the right object. Click on the move tool and simply move it across. Okay, and that's probably about right this time. Okay, we do have the rotation, don't forget that we can do and all of that, but we don't need to do that right now. And I think, as usual, the undo should also work. Oh no, it doesn't work, okay, within this. But anyway, okay, so that's that, okay. Once that's done, we're going to hit OK. And hang on, no, we're going to move the camera to check it. So we're going to click the camera in the top left and move. And it's still wrong. Okay, shit. Excuse my language. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to double click to go back in to make these reaccessible. I don't know, it's just the way that they've made this software, the company. And I'm going to go down to the middle, the move tool, which is now selectable again. Make sure we're on the plane. Select the plane layer, move it across. Okay, and make it in the right position. Now I'm going to go to the camera in the top left-hand corner. Click that, which deactivates the use of these the movement tools. But the camera is now activated. We're going to drag and turn the camera, and now it looks more or less right. Okay, they look like steps leading up to something. I'm going to get a cool angle. Let's zoom in and get some funky angles here. Okay, get an angle like that. Okay. Another thing I want to do also is I want to say the next thing you can do. Okay, once you've set your camera up, once the camera has been set up in a position that you like, what you can actually do is then just click on OK at the bottom right hand of the screen. Right hand corner of the screen. Okay, now you're going to have your image there showing up. Now don't forget, okay, this is a ruler snap. That's what this is. It's a snap. So you've got this ruler thing selected here at the top left of the screen here, 3D perspective snap. If I go to that black point now, okay, little dot, it's an edit thing basically. So if I select that, okay, I can, if I click that, I can now hover over the objects that we've got, being this cube, the other cube here, or the panel, and basically click on it, okay, and we'll be able to draw on those. But we can't now because we can't draw on this layer, so we need to make another layer. So let me show you that again. Okay, let's click on the point. I've created another layer above this layer, okay, and we're going to click on the black point, and we're going to hover over, okay, hold on, hover over one of the objects like this one here, and then we can draw along the lines that it's giving us. You know, but it doesn't work too well, but you can draw along the lines of these things. I can simply hover up, click the black point here again, click on another object, and then simply draw away over the lines. You see, it works and acts like a ruler basically. I can choose that. I can make the visibility more higher for those guides, by the way. Please excuse me. So it works pretty well. You can get some guidelines from these, okay, from all these shapes. But we don't want to do that. We want to draw freehand. We don't want to use these. Okay, so it's very simple. All you need to do is just basically turn it off. So at the top left here, you can see this 3D perspective snap. Just go along and click off, the same as you do with any rulers. I've already shown you these other rulers before, where you turn one on, like another one, for example, like this one. You can adjust it. I can make the rain coming down like this, follow the lines, or whatever I want to do, make a forest, you know. And you can do all of that, but we don't have to have these rulers actually on. We can still see these things. So let's turn it, click off. Okay, make sure all of the rulers are switched off. This middle layer is our 3D perspective layer. We can turn it fainter. We don't have to have it so strong like this visually. We can have it turn the opacity down so it's barely visible, and I can go to my topmost layer with full opacity on a black pen. And if I want to, I can simply just draw freehand. You know, I can draw freehand, okay, and I can just literally draw I'll draw a rough picture for you just now, very roughly, you know. But I could literally draw some steps, you know. Okay, I can draw banisters or whatever, you know. Okay, here, okay, this could be some kind of building of some kind, you know. Here I could draw a roof, you know. This could be a doorway here, you see, a window on this side. I could have somebody in here, standing in here, waiting maybe, you know. I can follow the lines on this thing, just using this for a guide, you know. But this could very well be anything. This could be photos or anything. But the use of this, it could be just a rough sketch even, but the use of this layer we've got below is the fact that we've got various cubes and planes and things with perspective and camera angles set up. So you could make a whole city of buildings or whatever you want to make and get different camera angles of those things. You could build a shop scene with a shop desk or whatever you want to have at the front there, shop counter, you know, or anything. I can work along here. I can follow the lines of perspective and draw a rough fence here, and I don't even have to stay within the actual cube line here. I can have a gate across here maybe, you see. I can draw something further back maybe, you know, or I can draw what could I have? I could have some more little boxes maybe behind here, you know. I could have other things. I could draw a tree behind here, behind all of that, you know, a tree. And I can still see in the distance the horizon line, which is very, very useful. I can, you know, draw mountains if I wish to in the background here. And I can draw a long road winding and leading all the way up to this path here. Okay. And then what do I need to do? Heck, I don't even need to keep those guides in the background because we've finished using them. So I can click on my middlemost layer on the right hand side here, okay, which is the 3D perspective layer, and I can just delete it, and there we go, we've got an image. Okay, and what I can do is, if I want to, I can then go to this layer and turn it down, make it faint, like turn the opacity down. And if I wanted to, I could go in and make a new layer, and I could really do a very nice, I could take my time and do a very nice picture with brick walls and all kinds of detail, and do a very, very nice picture, you know, on top of that, and a nice roof, and I could really go the distance, you know, and draw a very nice detailed picture, and then get rid of the bottom layer when I finished, you know, if I wanted to. And I could do a painting, I could do anything. I can even just go below this sketch and make another layer on top of that, you see, and I could just start painting away. I could just start doing some painting here on a different color, maybe like a grey or whatever it's going to be, you know, and make this picture up. Once it's finished, I can delete my lines and I'll have a nice painting. You can work with drawing or painting in this software. This is a very, very good software, you know. Or you can just merge these two down like this. I love to do this. Sometimes I like to make a duplicate of that layer, duplicate of the whole layer. Now it's all merged down and I made a duplicate of it. Go to filter, go to levels, turn this down, and then go to the eraser and start erasing certain parts of the picture to show some lighter areas. Okay, and this is something else you can do, and I love doing this. Okay, it's a lot of fun. You don't have to use pink, you can use blue or whatever you want to use, and you just erase. I'm not painting, I'm just erasing what I have here. See, I'm not painting, I'm just erasing. It's two pictures that are exactly the same, but one is dark on top and one is light below. And you know, you don't always want to do that. Sometimes you'll want to have the darker layer below, you know, because you want to put that below, and you want to maybe like paint in the areas where there is shadow, you know, like this. Or you can you know, add shadow and different layers later on. So this is a quick way of doing this kind of effect, you know. I could even just have a darker thing, like a darker fence. This fence could actually be dark, and the steps and the building itself could actually be lighter, you know. Just doing a rough thing here. This tree here, you know. You see what I'm saying? And you can get some ideas of what you're doing here. I can merge these two down. I can go onto a new layer, and I can click on the blending modes. I can choose maybe overlay, and I can start doing some different colors. I can choose brown maybe to make this a wooden on the pen. Choose a pen or a brush tool, you know, and then you can start painting on top of that, and you can see how we're creating art from the 3D setup that we had. And a lot of the detail here is not actually from those simple objects, but it is set up from the basic blocks we had, the boxes and the camera angles that we set up for perspective. It's very, very useful. Okay, so let's just finish off this picture a little bit more, seeing as we're here. Okay, and I'm just going to basically add on some colours here, just painting on top. I can see that it's not really working well on the overlay, so let's choose multiply from the blending modes, and that looks a lot better. We can also adjust the opacity of that layer to make it not so intense. Okay, and this is a wooden building, so let's do that. Okay, let's make it wooden, and this is where the fun comes in. Once you've got all the technical stuff out the way and you practice and you get used to it and you have fun doing it while you're going along, you lessen the frustration and you have lots more fun in actually creating art from your imagination. And once you get used to using a software, it becomes a lot more fun. And a software like this is really simple to use, and it doesn't always crash, it doesn't always slow down, and it doesn't slow down your system. It's very lightweight, this software. This is why I like it. Let's make all of this wood. Okay, you can see I'm painting over this with the same tone of brown, the same shade of brown, but it's making the fence darker than the steps and the building. Why is that? Why is the fence darker? Because we're using an overlay or a multiply. When you do that, I'm using multiply for the blending mode on this top layer here, and I'm just painting on top of what we've got, and what we already had were different shades, you know, of light and dark. It doesn't matter if it's a black and white picture or it's just different light and dark shades of any color, really. You know, this is the thing, you know. It's just going over what you've got there. Oh, nearly forgot that tree. It's also wood. I'm going to choose green now over here for the tree, and we're going to finish this picture just to show you while we're here. I don't know why, I just want to finish it. We're going to go to yellow, really rough here. I'm just changing the size of the brush. I'm going to keep those boxes pink, I think, just for the sake of it. Don't ask me why. We're going to change the sky blue in a moment. We're just going to do this really quickly. I'm not being too neat, I'm being really simple in what I'm doing here. Very, very, very neat very light to the point. holding Alt on the keyboard and just changing my cursor to the eyedropper for a moment, hovering over a color, clicking down to take that purple. Even though it's from the below layer, it still will do that. It takes color from anywhere on the canvas. Letting go of the Alt key, and now painting on top of this to get that darkness from that window we're showing. Now I'm going to choose a black color just to make our figure look a bit dark in the shadows, so we can't really see who he is. Okay, I'm going to choose a white color now, a very lightish, almost white color to color these. Well, no, I'll choose another color actually, because that's not working. Choose red. We'll make these boxes red. Bit of a color clash. It's not the best looking picture, but you know, what the heck. I was going to make this color of the sky blue, but I'm not going to. I'll do a little bit of a blue to it, a little bit of a blue there, not too much, a little bit of a blue. I'm going to merge these two layers down now as one layer, then make a duplicate of them again. Now I'm going to make a darker copy on top like this, and I'm going to bring this whole layer below, the light layer. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the eraser tool from the left. Okay, and what I'm going to do after choosing the eraser tool, I'm going to actually go over here and start erasing this side of this building to make it much darker, to show that light is coming from the left hand side of this image. Okay, anything that's on the left basically, so including the inside of this building actually needs to be darker now, so you can have this all in the dark, I think, here. Okay, now this side of these steps need to be also. Okay, and these everything on this side, so we're going over everything. This fence and these sides of these boxes here can also be dark. Don't worry about it too much, you'll see what I mean. It's making everything darker on this side. And this tree also, on this side maybe a little bit, and we'll leave some areas light on the other side, but these areas are considerably darker. Now we're going to add some darker areas to the mountains to give them some 3D look in the background, a little bit of darkness here, for the ones in the close foreground at least. Okay, just a little bit of a depth there. Now we can see it looks a little bit too dark, I think, so what I'm going to do is go down to that layer below and go to filters. I've clicked the layer below, okay, the below dark layer, which we're revealing, and I'm going to go to filter and go to levels and go to that top bar. It's got three things on it. Go to the right one and turn it slightly up, and you can see now it looks more balanced. Now I'm going to merge the top layer, click on the top layer and merge it down with that. Then I'm going to go to filters again and go to levels and adjust the contrast a bit more, and you'll see what kind of effects we can get by adjusting these bars now. Some more, okay? Another thing we can do is we can go onto another layer or just carefully do it on the same layer. Choose black and go to the pen and make a full opacity pen with a thicker line, slightly thicker than what you had, okay? So it stands out, and we're going to go around the edges, just the edges, only the edges of certain shapes, and you'll notice that it makes your image stand out and look much more stronger. So not the every detail, just the edges. Go around the edges in a thicker line. This is a little trick you can do, okay? Okay, so just right here, okay, the top of this fence, okay, for example, the edges here, especially things in the foreground, and if they're further away, make them slightly thinner if you wish to, and we can have a slightly thinner but strong-ish line for some of these steps, not every single line, but certain things, okay, like this, the edge of this door also, just a little bit on this side. It gives a kind of shadowy kind of depth to it, you see. And we don't have to do the things in the foreground so much, okay? Those can be just the way they are. From here now, if I want, I can go to filter and go down, under filter, go to the Gaussian or Gaussian blur and give a slight blur if I wish to. I don't have to. It kind of softens everything up a little bit like this, okay? And slightly, not too far, and go to OK. Then go to filter again and go to levels and adjust that top bar slightly some more if you wish to. Okay, you can see what we can do here. Okay, and if you wanted to, you can do other effects and things too, like adding a glow or various lights and all kinds of things. But this is still a rough little drawing I've just shown you here, having a bit of fun. Okay, showing you what you can do with some of the brushes and colors with different layers and stuff too. And we're going to cover some of these shading techniques and some other special effects in other videos to come. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video and these tutorials so far. This is the end of tutorial 4, and we've been looking at perspective in this video. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask and get practicing. Thank you very much.